Green citations, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Devin, and we are coming back for part 2, it would seem, of the pause system, because it looks like that there's a couple of other things that we can do, A and B. The method that I showed you before had a particular weakness to it. I'm human too, I make mistakes. So we're going to fix that weakness while show you something else kind of cool that you can do with this system. So alright, so let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to go ahead and hit our little play key here. Now, note that not really a whole lot has changed. We got Grumpy here being all grumpy, and we got Happy spinning around in circles. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit P for pause. Exact same objects from the previous tutorial. And stop hammer time, just like before, only it's up a little bit, and we have a button. Now, to clarify exactly what happened. If you were using GameMaker Studio, I instructed you to use the Draw GUI event, which made things quick and easy, and you had a fully functioning pause system without having to mess with too much stuff. But what if you wanted to put in another object? Well, like that end game button right here. You're going to start having some problems, because with the Draw GUI event, anything that you draw to it pretty much goes on top of everything no matter what. So, so if you want like a neon construction yellow end game button like what I have here, you're gonna have a bad time. So, and go ahead and click it and it works. But anyway, so I'm gonna show you how to fix that. So the first thing that we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of our old controller, or get rid of the new one technically. See, boop, controller pause, and delete the button object too. Go away. I'll bring it back, I swear. Now I'm going to go ahead and rename this. Not that it really matters. Okay. Now, what we should have here is what was left over from the previous tutorial. This should all look very familiar. Now, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and build the button first. First, we're going to build the button. So, we're going to create a brand new object. And this is going to be our button. obj_btn_end. That works. Now, of course, this is not the best way to make a button, but this is fast and easy. I can probably make a tutorial someday here on how to make an actual button system, but until such time, this will do. All right, let me get my code window in here. All right, there we go. Now, in the step event of the button, we're just going to put this line of code. If position meeting, if I can learn how to spell, position, okay. Mouse _X, mouse _Y, ID, and mouse check button pressed, MB_left, MB keyboard, thank you. Actually, let's break that down. Game_end. So, if position meeting, or if our mouse happens to be meeting the current object that this code is in, because we're saying ID, and mouse check button press and be left, in other words, we push the left mouse key, we initiate what is in this block of code right here, which is ending the game. So, in fact, let's make this interesting. Show_message. Dirtle farts. There we go. I was going to say dirtle farts every time it shuts down. Okay. I am so mature. But anyway, so we have a button object now. Now that we have a button object, we can start putting this to use. Now, the first thing that we're going to do, since we're at this level, is... Now, we had a good talk about this Draw GUI event and how funny it is. Well, Draw GUI, he's really good at parties. He's really awesome at parties. But there's some parties, he's just rude, and we don't want him at this party, so we just want a regular draw event. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to comment out this line, and we're just going to go ahead and copy these guys. Because we actually do need these values up here in the step event now for certain things. And we are going to give them slightly different names too, or values. So, what we got here, let me just confirm. Yep, okay. We're going to get rid of the draw GUI width and height, and we're just going to use view_width view and view_h view. That's it. So that's all we need. So now this stays the same. Let me take a look at my notes here. Okay, now we're going to, if paused, create that button object. So if, and we're just doing a check here, just to be safe, you never know. Instance exists, obj btn end? Is that what? Yep, okay, that's what I called it. So what we're saying here, because of the exclamation point, if an instance does not exist of the end button, we're going to instance create view underscore x view plus width divided by 2, view underscore y view plus height divided by 2, obj underscore button. Oh, am I going off the screen? I hope I'm not. Okay, there we go. Button underscore end. Okay. We don't spell it out. There we go. So, if it does not exist, then we create it. Although, technically, just this right here would work fine. But I like to be safe. So, to be completely optional. You don't have to put this in if you don't want to. But I when it comes to my instances, I like to make sure. So, there you go. That's a method of making sure. Now, when we are not paused, do we need that button there anymore? Probably not. So we're going to want to destroy it. So we're going to do something very similar, although once again, completely optional. Only this time we're going to say if instance exists. Oh, hi, phone. How's it going? If instance exists, obj underscore button underscore end with obj underscore btn underscore end instance destroy. Destroy. Thank you. Now this isn't the best way to do it, and in fact, we could set up. Actually, you know what? That might be better. Okay, scratch that. Scratch that. Got a better method here. So. Actually, it would be very good for you to see it like this. So we're going to do this a slightly different way than what I had planned. We're going to go into obj underscore button underscore end here. Now, we're going to tell it. Let me make sure I got the right code here. Okay. Now, in this particular spot right here, it would be very important to have this. If instance exists, controller underscore pause. So if an instance of controller underscore pause exists, that's what we're making sure. Now we can address and get variables in other objects. So controller underscore pause. Now let's go ahead and head over to our pause variable. Now if you recall, pause is our variable. So we're going to copy that, and now we put in a dot. Boom, paused. We're going to say if controller pause equals false, instance destroy. So instead of the our controller object dealing with removing the button can remove itself. What a courteous little button that that we got going on here. So we got that going for us, and that's very important. There's gonna be a lot of times in your game when you're setting up a pause system, you're gonna want to use this very line of code to confirm, whether or not the game is paused. So that's how you do that, and so now you know. Oh, and by the way, very important. I'm just gonna want to, hurry up and don't want to make the same mistake again. Now, do we? Pausing, controller pause. Make sure that's back in there again because we definitely need it. And I believe, oh, nope, there's still another thing we need to do in controller underscore pause. And that is we need to go into our draw event here. And we got to make a ever so slight change. See our draw sprite here? We're going to get rid of that. Sort of. Whoops, nope. Okay, copy, paste. Now, what I'm going to do is underscore ext. Now, what draw sprite underscore ext is draw underscore sprite extended, which means that we have more options. Now, what we're going to type in is view underscore width port divided by W. Because remember, we specified W as view underscore width view in the step event previously. View underscore H port divided by H, and then 0, which is a rotation. We don't need any fancy rotation. -1, that is what color to blend it with. We don't need to worry about that. And 1, that's the alpha. And we don't want it to be transparent, so we want to, set that to 1. Now, what's going on here is we are drawing the sprite at the scale of the because when your application surface, which is what your screenshot is based on how big your game is ported to the screen. That may not always directly reflect what's in your game. So what this little operation here does, and this one right here, is it scales the screenshot to match whatever your actual game window is within game. So we're going to go ahead and give this a test run. Well, actually, there's one more thing that we got to do. We got to move this up because we're going to have a button in this area now, so we want stop hammer time to appear above our button. So we'll go ahead and see if this works. Let's see if I hopelessly destroyed it, which is quite possible. Okay, I'm going to hit pause. Stop hammer time. Oh, wait. Where'd our button go? Where'd our button go? Oh, no. Where'd our button go? It's supposed to be clickable right here. Oh, dirto farts. Yep. Now, I actually kind of half did that on purpose because, as you recall, I'm going to go into parent underscore pause, draw. We're actually drawing it to the screen. And the whole purpose of setting this to the draw event is so we can play around with depth. So what's going on is our controller underscore pause is at a higher depth, technically, or was created latest or later than our button underscore end. Or earlier. Whatever. The situation occurs where it's over it. So what we want to happen is we want our button underscore end to be at -100 depth. And you can set this for all your menu items. And you can be sure that your menu items will appear over your screenshot. So we'll go ahead and try running it again. All right, here we go. I'm going to hit pause. Hey, look at that. We have an end game button. And when I push it, it says Dirtle Farts. Awesome. Okay. So that's how that works. This one might have been a little convoluted because about halfway I might have worked out something a little bit did a little bit differently than what I intended, but still, I'm hoping that you got something good out of it, and I guess that pretty much sums it up. Thank you very much for watching, and happy gaming.